Today's make is the open front crop top. We have the 2 back pieces, we have the 4 front pieces, and we also have this strap which will be cut up to make the ladder design in the middle of the crop. So I am making the entire top with red spandex. If you would prefer to use a lining fabric plus spandex, you're more than welcome to do so. So you would just cut out 1 piece in your colored or your print fabric, then 1 piece in your lining. Same with these front pieces here. But I use nice and soft spandex fabric, so for me it's very easy to just line with the exact same fabric. And I am going to start with the back pieces here. So what we need to do with the back pieces is we need to sew the 2 armholes and the neck hole, just like this. So I've overlocked these edges. As with any of my designs, I am always going to be using an overlocker, but if you don't have one, a zigzag stitch for stretch fabric is perfect. So I'm going to put this off to the side. It's time to do the front. So the first thing we need to do is take our strap, fold it in half with the right sides together, and we're going to sew along this line here. All of my sewing patterns have a 1 centimeter seam allowance included, so we're just making a nice little strap here. I finished sewing the strap. I'm going to trim off the edges. I'm going to turn it inside out with a loop turner. If you don't have a loop turner, you can just use a safety pin. And now we're going to thread some 6mm elastic through the tube. A loop turner is very, very handy for this. The next step is to cut this strap here into 5 centimeter pieces. If you're from America, that converts to 1.97 inches. So you just need a ruler for this. I'm just going to cut it into 5 centimeter pieces. So I have my 8 straps that are 5 centimeters long. We're going to take one of the front pieces of the top. Now there are 8 notches all the way along here. It might be a little bit hard for you to see on camera, but there's 8 notches along here. You're going to take these straps, you're going to place them right side facing down. You know that because you will see the seam on the top. So we're going to place it right sides facing down, lining up with all of the notches. I have secured them all in place with some clips. I'm going to take the other piece of the top. I'm going to place it right sides facing down, so that with these 2 front pieces, now the right sides are facing each other. I'm going to line up the notches and clip it all together. Great, now we're going to sew this whole line here. I do start by doing it with the sewing machine, just a zigzag stitch. Then I like to put it through my overlocker afterwards. That way all of these straps here are secured in place by the zigzag stitch, so you're not going to be losing any straps or having to redo it or anything. So we're going to sew all the way along here. It will take a little bit of patience because you do have to hold the straps in place as you go. They can slip around a bit, so keep that in mind. And I will show you what it looks like when I'm done. It will look like this. Now we're going to take the other half of the front, right side facing up. We are going to open the piece that we just finished. Like this, with the straps facing out. We're going to put it on top of that piece that we just laid out, the right side up. We're going to pin all of these straps to then corresponding notches. Now we're going to place the other piece of the front, right side down, we are going to line up the notches and pin them all together. And we're going to do the same step that we just did for the other side. We're going to sew a zigzag stitch all the way along, holding the straps nice and still. They definitely like to slip around a lot. I've had to unstitch and restitch so many of these in the beginning. And then I am going to overlock this edge as well. I just prefer an overlocked finish. It will look like this. Once you open it up, you can see the front design. Now we just need to close the half neck hole pieces here and the armhole pieces as well. We are going to roll up one side. We're going to open up the other side. We're also going to fold this side in. Going to secure it with a clip just to keep it out of the way. Because what we want to do is we want to clip this armhole and clip this neck hole as well. Now I'm going to overlock these edges. Again, if you don't have an overlocker, just use a zigzag stitch in place of that. I've finished the armhole and the neck hole. Now we turn it the other way around, the right way around. And I've actually gone ahead and finished the other side as well. Since it's the same method, you just need to do both sides. Now we need to connect the front and back. I'm going to take the back, right sides together. So as you can see, the overlocked seam here, it is inside out. I'm going to place 2 clips on each of these shoulder seams here. I'm going to place this top on the inside of the back here. And keeping it nice and flat, I'm going to feed the clips on the shoulder seams through and clip them together with the shoulder of the back part. Now when you clip these together, you need to make sure that the inside pieces are all the way up into the edge and that all of the pieces are nice and flat. That is how you will get a nice, clean, neat top. I'm going to do the same with the other side. Like so. I will add an extra clip on here just because at steps like this, I like to do a very quick sanity check to make sure that I've put it all together correctly. I'm going to turn the back piece the right way around. Just to check that I haven't twisted the shoulder section here. Everything seems to look great. I will turn it back the other way around. Now we sew these shoulder seams here. I finished these shoulder seams here. I'm going to turn the top the right way around. And now we need to connect the side seams here, and we need to do one at a time. So you just choose one to start with. I am going to pin the 2 center pieces together. Then I am going to pin at the underarm seams. Pull the other 2 pieces of fabric together. This part can look a little confusing because usually the whole top would be able to open up, but since we've put in that detail in the center, it makes the pieces much smaller. So it obviously looks a bit like a mess right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to finish pinning these 2 seams together. And before we sew anything, we can pop the top the right way around just to check that we have done everything correctly. Okay, so I do apologize for the mess. It's nearly impossible for me to do this neatly. But if you put the top the right way around, you can see that we have pinned together this whole side seam here, and then the seam is hidden. And everything looks great, so I am going to open it back up like this. And I'm going to sew along that line that we just pinned. I finished that seam. I'll place the top the right way around. And this is what it will look like when it's finished. So we have a finished seam on this side. If you flip it around, we also have a finished seam on the other side, as it was one long seam. Again, sorry that it's a little bit difficult for me to show you on camera without it getting too messy, but I will try to show you again with this other side. So we have these two edges on top of each other. I'm going to take the two middle pieces and pin them. So these two will be right sides together. I'm going to run my fingers up and then pin the two underarm seams here. Now I'm going to take these two pieces and continue running my fingers up and connecting them both. I'm going to put a few more pins in here. And again, I'm going to do a quick check by placing the top the right way around. And the seam looks exactly the way I want it to. The top, all the pieces have come together nicely, so I'm going to open it back up again. And I'm going to sew this seam here. That seam's all finished as well. I've just turned the top the right way around. You can tell which way is the right way around as these straps look really nice and neat here, and on the other side you have your seams. So that's how you know which side is which. Now all that's left to do is to hem the top. All you need to do is fold it under 1.5 centimeters and then sew all the way along. Now there's two pieces of fabric here, so what I like to do first is I like to overlock this edge and then fold it under and hem. So I've overlocked this bottom raw edge here. All that's left to do is to fold it under 1.5 centimeters and then sew all the way around, and I will show you what that looks like once I'm done. This is what it should look like when you're done. So I folded it under 1.5 centimeters, I've stitched all the way along, and you're ready to wear it.